What the hell is Saw Sports or whatever that last call was talking about? What the hell is that?
What is up, Sauce Nation? It is your boy Hector Flores coming with you with an Astros update video. There's not really been going on that much, so I've actually kind of been waiting for some deals to kind of pile in before I start making more videos, as some of the off-season moves that the Astros end up making. And so I finally think I got a good number, and plus I'll also add on to what's currently going on with the investigation with the Astros for sign stealing. But before we get going with this video, make sure you guys like and comment and subscribe to Sauce Sports TV, so you guys can get more content for the other teams here in Houston, whether it be the Astros, the Dynamo, or the Houston Rockets, or any other team here in the Houston and Houston area. So without further ado, let's get going with this video. So the Astros extended Yuli Gurriel to a 1-year, $8 million deal for 2020. It's a fair deal. It's actually $2 million less than what he made last year. So I think it's a fair deal for Yuli Gurriel, especially where he's at in his age. He is, I believe, 36 years old. But, I mean, with the numbers that he has, I mean, it's really hard not to give him that money. So, in 2019, he had a .298 batting average, a .343 on-base percentage, a .541 slugging, an .884 OPS. He had 168 hits, 40 doubles, 31 home runs, and 104 RBIs. Yuli Gurriel was a very consistent player in 2019, and he was honestly kind of like a little catalyst at some point, especially with the injuries that were coming in 2019, when we had a point where we were without Jose Altuve, when we were at a point without Carlos Correa or George Springer. Injuries came in, and Yuli, as well as Alex Bregman and many other players from the Houston Astros, stepped up in 2019. So, you know, obviously I think this is a fair deal. I think the Astros are going to have to start looking at first base at some point, whether it be maybe training Yordan Alvarez to be a first baseman, or looking to bring in a first baseman or a utility type player that can play first at some point to help with Yuli Gurriel, as I feel like he's going to start slowing down at some point. So the next player that the Astros end up making a move for is for backup catcher Dustin Garneau. And I'm already going to state this. He's going to be a backup catcher. So if anybody's freaking out about this deal, relax. He's a backup catcher. I'm pretty sure the Astros will still go ahead and make a move for a starting catcher, because currently the only two catchers in this roster is Stubbs and Dustin Garneau. He signs a 1-year deal. In 2019, he had a .244 batting average, a .350 on-base percentage, and a .407 slugging, with a .757 OPS, had 21 hits and 14 RBIs. Honestly, this is stats exactly for what a backup catcher gets. I just think this is maybe like a safety blanket, like, hey, we got this move. Obviously, I don't really think that Martin Maldonado or Robinson Chirinos will be getting re-signed by the Astros. There was rumors going around that the Astros were looking to make a trade for Wilson Contreras. It's an interesting one, but not something I'm really thrilled to hear. But I mean, there are some catchers that do seem somewhat appealing to me. But we'll see what the Astros do. I'm sure they will address the catcher position at some point in this offseason. So the Astros did make a trade, and it was with the New York Mets, and that was to trade Jake Marisnick in exchange for left-handed pitcher Blake Taylor and outfielder Kennedy Corona. Now, both these guys are in the minors, and I'll get more in depth about them. But Jake Marisnick, obviously he's a fan favorite, specifically for the ladies, but I think he was a very fast person. You know, he was pretty solid defensively. Postseason probably had some problems, and his bat isn't necessarily one of the most reliable bats, but does have a big pop and can be a spark every once in a while. But Jake Marisnick just wasn't getting opportunities to start full time, obviously, with an outfield that had George Springer, Michael Brantley, and Josh Reddick. It was just he was the odd man out. Wouldn't be surprised to see that there will be some more moves for the outfield. Now, for Blake Taylor, from looking at his stats, the first thing that I see is this guy's a relief pitcher. Not only that, but he's a lefty. So I'm not entirely against this, but you know, this guy has been in the minors for a very long time, has been playing for a very long time, and has only been with the minors. So I think that he's definitely, there's got to be something about him that he's not playing with the show. But his stats for 2019, he was 2-3. He had a 2.16 ERA, had a total of 10 saves. He only allowed 3 home runs, had 24 walked. He only walked 24 players and had 74 strikeouts with a whip of 1.095. Honestly, those stats aren't really terrible for a relief pitcher. You can go either way, but I do like his stats, especially for a relief pitcher. And I think because he's a lefty, it does give me some value to it, so I do kind of like that about him. Now for Kennedy Corona, he's only had 1 year with the minors. He's honestly very new, but in 2019 he had a batting average of 301, 398 on base percentage, 470 slugging, an OPS of 868. He had 66 hits, 5 home runs, 29 RBIs, and 19 stolen bases. Now, like I said, this was just off of 1 season with the minors. This was his first season in the minors. I see some potential. He is an outfielder. He could be something that the Astros could work with and develop even more. Or if we need to, maybe trade him out and get a big time player for a team that is kind of on a rebuild. So I do like these 2 players for what certain things that they bring. This is not a real big blockbuster trade. I mean, it sucks for certain people that did like Jake Marisnick. But, I mean, there is Miles Straw, who the Astros have more control over compared to Jake Marisnick. And, he's also a fast player who can also play shortstop as well as play in the outfield. So I think Miles Straw kind of gives the Astros what they got from Jake Marisnick, probably a little bit better because of just the fact that they have more control over him. So, I mean, it sucks to see Jake go. I mean, I did enjoy Jake days and all that, but it was his time. So the last guy to mention in the offseason is that the Astros re-signed Joe Smith to a 2-year deal worth $8 million. In 2019, I mean, he became really good. This was one of his top seasons, not his best season, but definitely one of his great seasons as a relief pitcher. In 2019, he had a 1.80 ERA. He only gave up 5 walks. He had 22 strikeouts and had a .960 whip. Joe Smith definitely became very reliable, especially near the end of the postseason. So, I mean, it's great that we end up keeping him. I'm sure that the Astros are working on trying to re-sign Will Harris as well. They also re-signed Joe Bangini a while back. But I really didn't want to talk that much about Joe Bangini, but I guess here's where I talk about him. But I think that this is obviously adding strength back to our bullpen. I think the Astros in this offseason, like I said, will be looking to get some outfield help because I do think that the Josh Reddick trade does seem very possible. Obviously, some starting pitchers, ideally a left-handed starting pitcher, and obviously a starting catcher. Now, there has been rumors with the Astros about trading Carlos Correa, and I think that once the rumors came about, that's when the Astros decided to stop doing that, because obviously once the rumors come out, the value declines very quickly. So I mean, with that, I think that we'll see what happens for the rest of this offseason. But so far, I'm actually not very against a lot of the moves that they've made. I think obviously getting a backup catcher was a smart idea. Solidifying Yuli Gurriel, also another smart decision. I think what Taylor and Corona could do, if they, on the positive part, they could bring something to the table. Probably the more player that can actually bring more right now could be Taylor. But Corona, I think, in the long term or as an asset, could definitely bring something to the team. And obviously, retaining Joe Smith was a great move by the Astros as well. So that's it for the offseason as of right now. But let's get going to the last topic that I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to conclude this video on some really bad news, depending on who you are. But the Astros admitted to sign stealing electronically. There's been reports during the interview process that people from the Astros have went ahead and admitted to sign stealing. Even verifying exactly what Mike Fiers said, which was that they were using a camera in center field, a league-approved camera from center field. And obviously, for people that don't understand baseball, you use league-approved cameras in certain areas, mainly for scouting reasons. But obviously, anyone, I'm sure many people have access to that camera, and because they used it for sign stealing, that's when it becomes illegal. Are they going to get taken away that camera? No, because they still got a scout. Life goes on after this investigation. But with that being said, I think it's just kind of completed the decision whether or not the Astros. I'm sure we'll end up eventually hearing the decision by the Astros, and what's gonna come with it. Like I said, I've said it in my video before, in the last video I made about the Astros, they're not going to lose the World Series title. I don't think MLB is gonna go that extreme, but there will be suspensions. There will be a very heavy fine, and there will be the loss of draft picks. And I mean, I think it's just that's what's gonna be, because the Astros will be made example of. And like I said in my last video, the Astros will be made example of if found to be true. And the evidence is now pushing more and more towards that the Astros did do this. And like I said, I'm not making excuses for it. It happened. Astros still have a pretty good team, but we'll see what they can do bouncing back after this. Because I mean, mind you, even though they use that for home games, that doesn't change the fact that they were pretty efficient on the road as well. So, but like I said, man, there's gonna be some suspensions, and we'll see who ends up getting suspended. We're gonna see who's gonna be what's the fine gonna be. It's gonna be a lot, probably more than what St. Louis did for that hacking thing. And there's gonna be a lot of loss of draft picks, but losing the World Series, I don't think that's what's gonna happen. There was some guy that commented on the last video, and he was talking about my upbringing. I don't know what that has to do with a professional baseball team that I have zero control over. It's not like I was cheating. It's not like I was out on the field cheating with them. You know what I mean? For those people that, and I really wish I didn't waste my time with this person, because clearly they didn't watch the video. If they did, they would have heard me saying that because they were like saying I was making up excuses. If you would have watched the video, you clearly would have heard me say I wasn't going to make an excuse for them. But for this person, I just gotta say, man, it's a game. Get a life, man. Like, you didn't see me flip out. I never flipped out about anything with baseball. The steroid era, I didn't complain. I mean, I knew what was going on. The Apple Watch scandal, I mean, many people brushed that off with the Boston Red Sox. But I think because of this, I think teams will think twice for sure if they're going to use technology. Because if you get caught, you know what's coming. So this to all the teams that are probably doing the same thing, knowing if you get caught, it's only going to get worse. So that's all I got to say. I know this is a really crummy way to end the video, but I just think because they admitted to it, I have to address it in the video. So with all that being said, man, if you guys want to get that content on the other teams here in H-Town, make sure you subscribe to Sauce Sports TV. Please like and comment on this video so you guys can be featured on Comment of the Day on one of my next Astros videos, as I will be continuing to update you guys on the latest things with the Houston Astros as well as the Houston Dynamo. And hopefully we got somebody in the South, whether it's from the Roundtable or Ed, that's going to start covering the Houston Rockets. Though I think Ed seems to be a little bit turned off after the whole Lizzo thing. But with all that being said, man, chucking up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy.